Welcome back, core students. This is our last night to be together in our houses for the year 2022. I can't believe it. This semester has flown by. We're going to begin our evening with handing over our burdens we no longer want to carry. I'm going to walk you through a hands up, hands down exercise. So if you would please be respectful of your neighbors, get comfortable, close your eyes, begin to quiet your mind and your bodies by taking some deep breaths for the next 15 seconds. Please hold your hands up. Begin to mentally fill them with lies you believe, fears, worries, anxieties, something you need to ask forgiveness for. Now flip your hands over. Jesus' hands are under yours. Let Him receive the things you want to release to Him. Let Jesus take these from you. He is strong enough to hold them and wants you to be freed. Now flip your hands up and receive what Jesus has for you. Maybe He wants to fill you with His peace, joy, love, kindness, the words you are forgiven, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, or another word, visual, or verse. Thank you for doing the hands up, hands down prayer experience with me. Now let's thank the Lord for taking these burdens from us. Isn't He amazing? This evening, we're hearing Clayton ask the question, will you trust Jesus in the next moment?
Will you trust God with the next moment? Loaded statement for lots of reasons. Will I trust someone I can't really see, was on earth a couple thousand years ago, but I think I can sense His presence and I think I know Him with what happens next in my life? Also recognizing for the most part, I have no idea what's coming, but somehow that won't freak me out. That might help you recall last week. Jesus is the Prince of Peace, one of the names given to Him, but it's easier said than done. I think Jesus knows that and would appreciate the honesty. So what if I said you have to deal with all those questions and that this God, Father, Son, and Spirit, actually cares about what's next in your life? When I say next, I mean both the big stuff and the small stuff. Because let's be honest, there's way more small stuff than big stuff, right? There are far more normal days than big days, which means God maybe cares more about what seems small because it impacts how we respond when things get really big. Under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. How we choose to live each day is actually training or preparing us for what's to come. So I have a brother who likes to push himself. He stumbled across a new idea called a misogi. The basic concept is the older we get, the safer we get, which makes sense. We take less risks, which isn't bad, unless it keeps us from growing and become who we were meant to be all along. The idea is once a year, you try to do something you're not sure you can accomplish. If you do it or not doesn't matter. What matters is you try. So here's what they did. They tried to stand up paddleboard across open water. That's an ocean, about a dozen or so miles. They started on their feet, moved to their knees, before deciding to sit. The water was so high, they could not see the shore. So what did they do? They focused on one stroke at a time. They perfected it slowly and kept at it. That was all they could do. They ended up making it, but that wasn't the part that stuck with them. What did was the process of refining the next stroke, and the next stroke, and the next stroke. You follow me? In the passages prior to Matthew 24, 36 through 44, Jesus tells His disciples that the world is going to get crazy in a way that we don't get. Think more along the lines of what happened to the people of Ukraine and what they have experienced as Russia crossed their border. According to Jesus, if they hang in there, it'll be worth it. And somehow, against the odds, what really matters, people and our relationships with them will flourish. They'll be able to see the good and enjoy it in the midst of pain, suffering, and chaos. That is wild. But the passage you'll be exploring tonight in your group, read it together, seems to jump from daily life and focuses on the eternal. What happens at the end when Jesus returns? But Jesus says no one knows the day or the hour. You do not know when the Lord will come. Is how it all ends what Jesus is actually concerned about? Of course, sure tree matters to him. But is that what he's actually talking about here? I don't know. He said, you don't know when he's coming back. You won't know. If that's the case, should it really occupy lots of our time and our thoughts? Or should we just trust God with when he comes back and how he does it? So if this isn't necessarily about the end times, what's it about? Jesus references 3 different sets of people. Noah and everyone who felt the effects of the great flood, 2 guys in a field, and 2 ladies at a mill. In each story, some remain and some are taken away. Taken where? So a common thought is the good person in the story is taken away to heaven, the bad person remains. I've actually heard someone joke that many of us read the Bible as basic information before leaving earth. Get it? B-I-B-L-E. But if we're tracking with Jesus, his teachings, the prayer he taught us to pray, his kingdom and all that is good comes to earth. And somehow we get to participate in that. So in the story of Noah, what isn't good is washed or taken away. And the people connected to God stay here on earth. Jesus in Matthew 13:24, go ahead and check it out with your group time, shares a similar thought. What isn't good is taken, but what is good stays. So back to the guys in the field and ladies at the mill. That means that they stayed, one was taken, the one who stayed kept working, doing their job, living this life because they were connected to God while doing it, which implies who they were in each moment mattered. How they treated people in each moment mattered. Will you trust God with your next moment? He cares about it and you. And how you choose to live and speak and work and learn has lasting impact here. To quote Russell Crowe in Gladiator, what we do in life echoes into eternity. So be ready. In your groups, would you just share what your normal day looks like? What do you do? What do you build? What do you create? What do you learn? What do you invest your time in? Take turns. Investigate your whole normal day. Then with the help of your group, look for the moments where you could be a blessing. So a blessing is just being life-giving. Where could you proactively speak life into someone else? Where could you give the gift of your time and attention and be life-giving to someone else? Are you living with an expectancy and urgency, knowing that you don't know when Jesus will return? If that's the case, every single moment matters. Will you trust God with the next moment? Whatever you discover in your group, my ask, go do it tomorrow. Don't wait. We don't know how many days we have, so they all matter. Amen? Amen.